The national champion Florida Gators get their entire front court back, but they've got a massive Walter Clayton-sized hole to fill in the backcourt.
You are Locked On College Basketball, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? Happy Wednesday. It's October. That is wild. Welcome into the Locked On College Basketball Podcast, the only daily national college hoop show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Schade. You're joining me at the place to get your college basketball content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I want to thank you so much for making us your first listener watch. And I also want to remind you, you can catch every episode ad-free on Amazon Music. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if that bet wins, you're going to get $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. Go download it today. I want to say a special shout out to all the everydayers here with us. Also, all the great members of the Locked On College Basketball Discord. That thing is popping off right now as we get into the lead up of the season. Links in the show notes. We'd love to see you there. Coming up on the show today, it is our 22nd team preview as we're getting closer and closer and closer. Today, it's the reigning national champion Florida Gators. Going to be a great conversation. If you want to see that whole playlist, I can't point good, but it's up there in the corner on YouTube, up over Brandon's head, where you can find that entire playlist. Speaking of which, joining me from all the way across the great pond that we call the Atlantic Ocean is my good buddy and yours, Mr. Brandon Olsen, the great host of Locked On Gators. Brandon, great to be together, my friend. We're going to talk last season. What a season it was. This season's biggest storylines, personnel, starting five prediction, breakout candidate schedule, and so much more. You got your tea ready over there in England, Mr. Olsen? You ready?
I certainly do at 7 p.m.
You know what? I'm here for it. As somebody who was born in the great country of England, I wish I was sitting there beside you in the motherland right now. Okay, let's dive right into it. Last season, Florida finished 36-4. All four of those were SEC losses where they were 14-4. Regular season perfect in non-con play. Not a terribly daunting non-con schedule, but still swept through it. Finished second in the SEC, just one game back of Auburn. I think a lot of people forget that Auburn had that stumble down the stretch and Florida almost caught them. 2 seed in the SEC tournament, won that bad boy, beating Mizzou, Bama, and Tennessee along the way. Won the NCAA tournament, was a 1 seed. And B.O., we often say national champions got to survive some close calls. And by my count, 3 big close calls for the Gators. Round of 32, trailed the entire second half against UConn till a Walter Clayton 3 with about 3 minutes to go. Elite 8 against Texas Tech. The Gators down 10 points with 5.5 to go. Down by 9 with 3 minutes to go. Came back and won that. And then national championship game. The Cougs led by 12 points with 15:30 to go. Florida didn't take their first lead until 46 seconds remained in the national championship game. My man, the Gators skated by, but they are the reigning national champs.
Yeah, I was gonna, as you were talking, I was like, oh, I'm gonna let him know that run took years off my life. And then while you were talking, like I started getting goosebumps, my palms started sweating. I was like, oh my God, we're right back into it. Like this is again taking years. My hairline's receding again. Like it's going crazy. But yeah, that was magical. Like there's just no other way to put. I still remember every single game of March Madness where I was sitting there and I had a routine at this point that I had never planned on having the routine, but I was sitting on the couch, like fetal position every time. I'm clapping. My fiance is like, it's 1 a.m. What are you doing? And I'm watching the game. I'm celebrating. It was ridiculous. It was nuts. And man, I wouldn't trade that experience again for the world. That was just incredible to sit through and watch that team be so damn resilient, so consistently. It was amazing. The UConn game, which first off, like the Norfolk State game, the start of it, I remember pissed me off. And that really irritated me. And I was like, oh, this team is, and I spent so long saying, hey, this team plays basketball that one off night, you're going to get popped. And the UConn game kind of felt like it would be that. Dan Hurley coached the game of his life. That was an incredible performance by Dan Hurley. He got a bunch of open shots for his guys too. They just didn't connect on them, which Florida got kind of lucky on. Texas Tech was nightmarish towards the end. Auburn wasn't that big of a concern because despite the age difference, Todd Golden is Bruce Pearl's father. And the Houston game was the entire time I was sweating. It was just it was a magical experience. And I'm still like, as we're talking about it, I'm just so happy that I got to cover this team doing it.
It really is fun to re-inhabit that space of that magical run. And I just want to take a moment to marvel at the insane run that Walter Clayton went on. I think maybe people forget about it because the national championship game was more of a struggle for him. But here is his run through the 6 games tournament: 23 points, 23, 13, 30, 34, and 11. That's wild. 91% from the free throw line, 43.5% from 3, 3.3 rebounds a game, 3.3 assists per game, including, even though he was struggling to shoot in the national championship game, had 7 assists as Florida won that thing. I love a player who can do all that. But that said, Brandon, there is a massive, now Walter Clayton-sized hole that Todd Golden's got to fill in the backcourt, as basically the whole backcourt's gone and the whole front court returns. How's he going to do that?
Yeah, I think a lot of it's going to come down to a combination of Boogie Fland coming in from Arkansas and Xaivian Lee coming in from Princeton. I think that this year you'll see even more front court oriented offense with a lot of just because they're going to be huge. Thomas Houck is expected to start at small forward. You're going to have Alex Condon and Ruben Chinyelu both out there as well. They're going to be a massive team. I think a lot of it's going to come down to, by the way, Alex Condon, arguably the best passing big man in college basketball last year. Arguably.
Interesting to think on.
And so I do think that having that privilege of having a big man that can be an actual functional part of the facilitating part of the offense is a luxury that I think Todd Golden will absolutely try to take advantage of. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be a really different looking team this year. I really do. I think that you're still going to have the threes. You're still going to have, the big men facilitating a lot. But I do think this is going to be a less explosive team, but maybe a more consistent team, if that makes sense. There were certain games last year where it's like Walter Clayton Jr. is going off or he's pretty cold. Will Richard had his pop out moments, like national championship did that.
Yeah, dude.
I think you're going to have less of those, but a more consistent team.
And it's funny to say consistency about a team that only lost 4 games, but that's box score looking, right? Because having watched Florida so much last year, completely know what you're saying and agree with it. And consistency doesn't even necessarily translate to more wins necessarily, but I almost think of it, Brandon, like fantasy football. I'm not here for, I've got AJ Brown on my team this year. Here's a great example. He is so frustrating to me because he'll have a game where he gets 25 and then last week where he gets 9 targets and has a catch and 2.7 points. I would rather have a reliable guy that might not have as high a ceiling, but he's getting me 12 points a game. And I hear you saying that as a potential for this Florida team where it's we know what we're going to get. Maybe the ceiling and explosiveness isn't as high as it was last year, but we know what we're getting. And that ultimately could lead to Todd Golden getting another national championship in just year 4 in Gainesville. And Brandon, would be crazy because it's only happened 3 other times in the modern era. Obviously Duke in 91, 92, these same Florida Gators in 06 and 07, and then UConn in 23 and 24. And so not only if the Gators could do that, would they be just the 4th team to ever do it? They would have done one of the others, and it would have happened over the course of 4 straight years, UConn and then Florida. Do you see a world where this Florida team legitimately could run it back?
Absolutely. I think that we're at the point now with Todd Golden where any team he puts together, I'm going to have faith in him to get it right. There were people who, when you talked about bringing in Will Richard, when you talked about bringing in Elijah Martin, Walter Clayton Jr., there was plenty of skepticism around that. And they came out there and they put belt to what. I'm not going to say it on your show. I would say it on my show. I said it on my show plenty of times. But they put belt to what and won a national championship doing it. I think Todd Golden is one of those coaches where he's earned the shut up and believe in him thing where like I say that all the time
like
about
Bill Self territory with Kansas, right? Like I'm gonna believe in Bill Self. It's that kind of thing.
Exactly. Like I say with football all the time, where it's just like, oh, if Brian Hartline wants you at wide receiver, you're probably a good receiver, regardless of what I think about you. Basketball wise, that's what I think Todd Golden has transcended himself into as a coach. And I think he's absolutely earned it, right? Like he won a national championship in year 3 when I remember before the season, I was like, hey, this team can make a run, but like, if you make it to the Sweet 16, Elite 8, like I'll be happy with it. I'll accept it. They went on a run, won the whole damn thing. And I love that so much. But I do think that Todd Golden has built a team that, again, while not as explosive, can be more consistent, which also, you mentioned it earlier, like could be not a bad thing, but being a more explosive team gives you a higher ceiling because you can erupt at any time. No lead is too big of a lead. Whereas now you might have to kind of like chip away slowly, but I still think this is a team that's built to win a lot of basketball games and built to make another deep run.
And what we're trying to figure out with this front court all returning with a brand new backcourt is who's going to be the Gators' best player? Is it Alex Condon coming back? Does Tommy Hawk take all those leaps he was starting to do last year and surpass him? Is it one of the new backcourt pieces? I want to ask Brandon about that question coming up here in just a second. Right after I tell you about Mazda, who crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every single ride, with more IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than anyone else as of August 25. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings that same level of intentionality to how they craft every single model. You can feel that incredible Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to the available Nappa leather upholstery. And with all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season, whether it's the balmy Midwest, whatever I have going on right now, or whatever precipitation Brandon's got going on across the pond right now, because with every Mazda, every drive feels like anything but an everyday drive. From smooth handling all the way to intuitive controls. And like Florida Gators, Mazda sweats every single detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. This episode's also brought to you by Monarch Money. Look, most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth. Brandon's like, dude, I got no idea. Well, guess what?
None of them.
It don't matter if it's a 401k or a property or investment. When you don't have the full picture, you could end up leaving money on the table. So here's what Brandon needs: Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop, phone, whatever device it is. The cool thing is that Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, and get smart categorization of all your spending. And that way you can finally feel like you're in control of your money without ever having to touch a spreadsheet. My wife and I spend a lot of time making sure our finances are up to date and in good shape. That's a thing that we really value. And Monarch makes it simple for us to be able to do that together. We can see our budgets, our goals, and spending all in one place. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONCollege right now at monarchmoney.com for half off your first year. Once again, that's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONCollege. Brandon, as I think about Florida's best player last year, it's like a no-brainer, right? Like everyone contributed in so many ways, but the conversation began and ended with Walter Clayton without blinking an eye. Now, I'm struggling to figure out who that's going to be this year. I think it's probably Alex Condon that's going to get the preseason hype, going to be on preseason All-American and all SEC preseason lists. But Tommy Hawk was making a run at the end of Tommy Hawk, was making a run last year at the end of the year where there were games when I was like, I think he might be the guy. You bring Boogie Fland comes in, Xaivian Lee, I think is phenomenal. And so as I look at it, Brandon, what's your thought about who is this team's best player?
I think right now you have to say it's Alex Condon, just because he was someone that, and I know that the NBA draft isn't always the best measure for things because in every sport, the best college player isn't the best pro. But I think Alex Condon is where you kind of start, just what he brought to the table overall. If he had a more refined offensive game, I think he'd be in the pros right now. Like, I don't think we'd be having the conversation about him still here. His passing is truly great. Like, I'm not even trying to overhype it, but I do think that from a pure playmaking ability for a center or power forward, but for a big man, I think that pure playmaking ability is very impressive, and he opens things up. Does that really make him the best player? Maybe, maybe not. Thomas Halleck, I'll be very interested to watch how he kind of steps into a full-time starting role. I don't think you could say that he's the best player until his jump shot becomes more consistent. I think that was a big area for him. He's expected to start small forward, pretty big small forward. I don't know how that'll translate long-term there. I don't think Boogie Fland will be the guy, but maybe Xaivian Lee could step into that role. I think that Xaivian Lee could be the guy to be the best player, but I think right now, before games are played, before we really see them going at it, I think you have to say it's Alex Condon. It's Alex Condon with very little resistance, I think, right now.
I think that's the smart thing to say preseason, right? Like, things could, as you said, it could easily change once games start happening, and we'll find that out sooner rather than later, thankfully. But I think you're right. I think that is the smart call to make right now as we sit here on the first day of October, right? You mentioned it just now, and I want to go ahead and ask Xaivian Lee. I was enamored by him when he entered the transfer portal this offseason. Brandon did so much at Princeton these last couple of years. Let me just remind people of his numbers last year, because it was insane. 16.9 points a game, 6.1 rebounds, 5.5 assists a game on compared to just 2.2 turnovers. So a nice assist to turnover ratio. Shot 36% from beyond the arc, 78% from free throw. I mean, like, the question always is, though, for people, how does it translate from the Ivy League up to the SEC? Brandon, do you have any concern about that up transfer capability from him?
Yes and no, a little bit. I'm not as concerned with the playmaking ability. I think that he'll get less open looks from three, and I think that he's probably going to be asked to shoot a little bit more. But I'm not too concerned with the playmaking ability. I think that's instinct and just pure skill there. But you're going to get less open looks from three. But also, when people always talk about, like going from the Ivy League to the SEC, the competition's more stiff, but your surrounding talent is also vastly improved to what you were playing with at Princeton. And I think that does help in certain areas. I do think that Xaivian Lee is part of the reason that I say I think this team might be more consistent, because I think part of the plan is going to be getting him into the paint, letting him dribble, drive, penetrate, and try to make some plays. And I think that that'll help this team overall, maybe slow things down, maybe just become, again, a more consistent offense. But I mean, look, let's be real. One of the things that everyone's going to compare him and Boogie Fland to is going to be, are they Walter Clayton Jr.? And the answer is no. Like, the answer is no. No one's Walter Clayton Jr., but can you be a starting impactful guard that's going to contribute for this team? Hell yeah. He's going to be. So I don't have that much of a concern about his ability to contribute there. I do think that he does a great job of drawing fouls, which I would love, provided he makes the free throws. He's I'll say, good, not great free throw shooter. I think he shot like
career just shy of 80%. Right. Yeah. I'm right with you. It's not automatic, but it's somebody you trust late in the game. Definitely.
Yeah. And especially when if you get to the line frequently, you're going to miss a few, but you're going to convert a lot, and you're going to get free points. And I don't know, maybe this is me being, I don't know if you want to quantify this as me being a jerk, but like, I think there's a big benefit of just getting guys in foul trouble, where I'm like, hey, even if you're like, going 4 for 5 from the line, which still very good, but if you're getting their players in foul trouble, that just makes everything easier for the rest of them. So I think there's a big added value there, where you lose some of the explosive ability that a Walter Clayton Jr. brought to the table, but you bring some consistency and you bring some more reliable. I don't know if reliable is the right word, but you raise the floor, but you lower the ceiling.
Yeah. And when you think about the front court that has, like, you've got all of those fouls to give to eliminate other people. And if both Boogie and Xaivian are getting into the lane and drawing fouls that way, then that's in good shape. And I think you make a good point. It's like, as he transfers up, yes, the competition level comes up, but so do his teammates, right? Like he's got more talented teammates around him. Not massive, but good positional size at 6'4" for Xaivian Lee. And so I think it should be in good shape. We've already mentioned Boogie Fland. The other two transfers, AJ Brown coming in from Ohio. I think that he'll have some time and a role on this team off the bench. Alex Kovachev coming from Sacramento State. I think less so. Brandon, I know from our conversations you would agree with me there. The other returners, just to make sure we've mentioned everybody, Alex Condon, Micah Hanlogton. I don't know that we've said his name yet, but he's the fourth member of that returning front court rotation. Ruben Chinyelu also coming back. Urban Klavsar, love him from last year. Isaiah Brown. And look, can we just put this to bed, Brandon? Everyone always wants to know about Olivier Rioux, the 18-foot, 2-inch young man from France that I feel like every couple of weeks somebody stumbles on him on Florida's roster, knows I cover college basketball, is like, Isaac, Florida's got a 7'9" guy. Yes, I know he's never going to play. Can we just put that to bed, Brandon? Will he be part of this rotation? Yes or no?
I don't want to say he's never going to play, but in
this year, like
he's not. Yet.
Will he have any sort of meaningful role on this year's team, in your opinion?
No, two reasons. One, I think it's very indicative of his where he's at right now, that in March and April during the tournament that Todd Golden was like, yeah, we don't expect to see him much. It's going to be really tough for him to find playing time next year as well. But also, you've got Alex Condon, Micah Hanlogton, Ruben Chinyelu all back. I don't want them coming off the court that much. Like, I'm going to be honest. So I think that, and I still think that even though Thomas Houck is expected to start at small forward, we'll still see times where he's playing power forward. And so I think you've still got your four in the front court there. I don't really want to see Olivier too much, and it's not even a knock on him. It's just you've got a really talented group ahead of him.
That's absolutely right. The freshman coming in, CJ Ingram, a 6'6" guard, legacy guy. His dad was a tight end at Florida. And then Alex Lloyd, another 6'3" guard. And so really good stuff there, and going to need those guys to really help fill out that backcourt. We feel so solid with going to be, because again, you lose not only Walter Clayton, the 18th pick of the draft, but Denzel Aberdeen off to Kentucky, 2 matchups with them. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Elijah Martin, the 39th pick in the draft. Will Richard, the 56th pick in the draft. Sam Alexis is off to Indiana, and Kublikas is off to Pacific in the West Coast Conference. So Brandon, you've mentioned it a couple times with Houck probably being the starter at 3. In your mind right now, is it as simple as Xaivian Lee, Boogie Fland, Houck, Condon, and Chinyelu? Like, is there any more conversation to have about the starting 5 beyond that? Do you think Hanlogton will challenge for it at all, or is it just it's those 5? Let's set it and forget it.
It's those 5. I don't even think. Yeah, I don't think you need to have any other talk about it. It's those 5 are going to be the guys. Hanlogton will probably be first off the bench coming in, but it's going to be those 5.
And so maybe that's the bigger question then, is what is the depth rotation beyond those 5? Brandon, who do you see as, in addition to Hanlogton, as the key contributors coming in off the bench?
I would like to see, and look, I'm someone who I'm going to prefer more guys play than not. Like, I know it's very common to say, hey, like 8-man rotation, which I do think Florida up until late in the season was going with 9 men. Yep. I would like to see Hanlogton. He's going to be a guy that's out there. We don't even need to go into that one further. He's going to be out there. I would like to see, honestly, I like AJ Brown. I do. I know that a lot of people are more skeptical of his defense and think that he might be a little too slow for the SEC game coming over from Ohio. But his shooting ability is just incredible. I think if you can get him open looks, he doesn't even have to play a ton. Just get him some looks and he'll be able to contribute there. CJ Ingram, I'm skeptical of, just because he desperately needs to improve in his jump shot. I think that if you kill spacing, that's not always super promising for a Todd Golden offense.
I was going to say that's Todd. Exactly. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. I think if you're someone who you kill spacing, that's not ideal for a Todd Golden offense. Alex Lloyd, I'd like to see. I think he's got some ability. Alex Lloyd and Isaiah Brown are both guys that I think can be contributors as combo guards. I don't know which one's going to earn the playing time. I don't know who's going to be out there more, but I think that's kind of it. Urban Klavsar, I just need to see more from him.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, I think that he had his moments.
He was up and down. Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that he had more down than up when it mattered most. Like, I think throughout the course of the season, it was pretty even, but I think he ended the season on a really down note. And that puts a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth about his play right now.
Yeah.
But overall, I think that's your rotation.
Yeah. And somebody, like, it can't be all Lee and Fland, right? Like, somebody's going to have those minutes in the backcourt, and we'll see who can grab that. Last question for you, Brandon, before we move to the schedule. Who do you see as a breakout candidate for this team? Somebody that's like, whether it's like, yes, look, I know Xaivian Lee scored a ton at Princeton, but nationally, a lot of people don't know about him. Or like, I know we've been talking a lot about Hauk, but technically he wasn't scoring 10 a game last year. So typically your breakout definition is fewer than 10 points a game. Who would you go with as like, this is the dude that's going to break out this year?
I think I'd go with Xaivian Lee. Thomas Hauk, like, I don't know what he's ever going to score, but I know that he brings a ton to the table. I just don't know how what his looks are going to look like. But Xaivian Lee is someone that I do think, again, he's going to have better talent around him than he's ever had. And I think that's going to really open up everything. Like, yeah, he might score more. He might score less and get more assists before. I don't know what it's going to look like exactly, but I do think he's in a better situation than he's ever been in. And I don't think you can overstate what a supporting cast can do for a ball handling guard. Like, I think that's huge for him. So I think Xaivian Lee is the guy that I would talk about. If we're talking about breakout guy, I think it's going to be him as the leading guard on potential back-to-back team.
Dude, I'm so intrigued to see how how he and Boogie work together in the back. Like, that's one of my maybe most interesting storylines to watch ahead of this season. And honestly, how at the three? Because if he can't do that, you're going to have a whole bunch of other stuff to figure out where the minutes come from and all that. So really interesting. Now, a reigning national champion with a great roster back, you expect a tough non-conference schedule. And I'll tell you what, Todd Golden and his staff have done exactly that. We'll look at it and make some season predictions in just a second. Right after I tell you about FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer that you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you're going to unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. And when you use FanDuel, whether that's parlays, player props, even jumping in on the action live, it makes watching football even more exciting since you've got a little something riding on the action. Whether you're a casual fan or maybe a dork like me and you love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. We're talking Florida today. Right now, they are tied for the fourth best odds to win the national championship at plus 1,700. The conference champion odds just came out on Tuesday. Florida, the favorite to win the SEC at plus 230. So what are you waiting for? Check it out right now at FanDuel.com and download the app today and get started. This episode is also brought to you by our friends at Square. You need to know that your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. There's certain businesses that truly make the neighborhood feel like home. Whether it's a local sports bar that's always packed on game day, whether it's the coffee shop that knows your name and your order by heart when you walk in the door, or that corner deli that's been serving your community for decades, man, these are the places that bring people together. And when neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood together thrives. What does that look like? Well, spending money at one of these businesses doesn't just support the business, it supports the people behind it and the community around it. Those local spots are what make the neighborhood feel like home, and so many of them run on Square. Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/go/LockedOnCollege to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You're going to be happy you did. Square. See you in the neighborhood. Let's move now to talking about the schedule, BO, and the SEC. 18 conference games. That means we get 13 non-con games this year. Next year, it moves to 32 total in the regular season, so we'll get 14. But this year, it's 13. And as I said, a reigning national champion that's got a lot back, you want a tough non-con, and here it is. Florida playing 7 of their 13 non-con games against high major competition. That is truly, in my mind, worthy of a team of this caliber. Let me just lay out those high major games. Monday, the first game of the regular season. This is what we beg for all the time. High level games on day one, and we're getting it in Vegas, where Florida is playing Arizona. This is fun. It's on TNT. Get used to that with the TNT not having the NBA anymore. Next kind of big time game. We're staying in the state of Florida on Veterans Day, Tuesday, November 11th against Florida State. Couple days later, Sunday, November 16th, against Miami down in Jacksonville, brand new coach at both of those Florida schools. Thanksgiving Day, I love this, against TCU to kick off the Rady Children's Invitational in San Diego. The next day, Black Friday, against either Providence or Wisconsin, same event. And we got a string here because the next two games, Tuesday, December 2nd, at Duke in Cameron Indoor Stadium for the SEC ACC Challenge. I cannot wait for what was almost the national championship game.
I was going to say, I thought for sure they were going to meet. I thought, I don't know, a bunch of Duke fans told a bunch of Florida fans, hey,
see you on Monday.
Meet us there. Yeah, they said, meet us there. This is the Duke Invitational now. Meet us there.
Man,
what happened, Duke?
They got Houston. That's what happened. And then a week later, on Tuesday, November 9th, UConn and Florida in the Jimmy V Classic in MSG, essentially a home game for the Huskies, if we're being honest there. And then interestingly, that's it for the high major competition, because the rest of December, Florida gets to kind of pack it in, play some bye games, and kind of really finalize that rotation before getting into SEC play in early January. Brandon, I love this non-con, man. What do you make of it?
I love it so much. I know that people hate the possibility of, adding losses, and in every sport, they hate the possibility of adding losses. I don't care. I prefer a tougher schedule. If you're a good enough team, you'll win those games anyway. So I don't really care about that. Florida State, Miami, hate them both. Can't wait to beat them. Looking at the Thanksgiving, Black Friday games, I love those invitationals. Something about them, just like, it's chaos. I love it. It's a ton of fun. Duke, I'm looking forward to, because, again, Florida was supposed to play them in the national championship, but for some reason, Duke just didn't make it with Houston, which I don't know. Florida seemed to beat them. So interesting with Duke. And the UConn game, I can't wait for it. I think that the game last year in the tournament last season in the tournament was incredible between Florida and UConn. I thought that was a great game. Again, Dan Hurley, I think, coached a fantastic game. It was just like, again, if guys hit their shots, UConn wins that game. Dan Hurley was drawing up plays. He was getting guys open looks against this defense. They just didn't hit. MSG, you mentioned, basically a home game for UConn. Also a homecoming for Boogie Fland.
That's a great point.
Really interested in that one. Another non-con game that doesn't really, like, it's not a big game, and Florida should win it easily, but versus Colgate, Dave Klatsky, who got hired by Florida this past offseason, has history with Colgate, so looking forward to that one. I'm looking forward to it. I like a tough schedule. I don't care about the easy stuff. It's because you win games in the SEC, you're going to be in the tournament anyway toward the end of the year. You're going to get your opportunity toward the end of the year anyway. Might as well in non-con have some fun with really tough matchups and prove without a shadow of a doubt that you're the best team in the country, if you are the best team in the country.
And that's the great thing. The selection committee is using a lot more advanced stats now. So even if you have a couple more losses on your resume, they recognize why that is, and because of the level of competition you play. And so, yeah, I'm not concerned with that either. I was looking up while you were talking, Brandon. Last time Florida and Duke played in Cameron Indoor Stadium was the 98-99 season, a game Duke won 116-86. So Gators looking for a little bit of revenge there. Should be a lot of fun. Times have changed, and it is very different. Going to be interesting to see, but man, what a schedule that is. Moving to the SEC play, again, 18 games. There's 3 teams you play twice. The way the SEC does it, that'll be Georgia, South Carolina, and oh, baby, them Kentucky Wildcats. Those matchups are on Valentine's Day, Saturday, February 14th, and wrapping the regular season. And Brandon, I know we could go through the whole SEC schedule, but I'm just here to say, I know your heart would probably hate it, and Lance Staw, our great Locked On Kentucky host, would probably hate it, but I'm here for that final regular season game determining the SEC regular season championship.
Oh, yeah, no, that would be a killer for me, especially because, I don't know, maybe it's me being a Florida Gators fan and being hurt plenty of times, but I'd be like, oh, like Denzel Aberdeen's going for 40 in that last game. I'm like, that's exactly how that would work out. I know it already. It's weird. Like I wish the best for him, but it's really weird that he just didn't have a coach that believed in him at Florida, even though he was taking the free throws to maybe steal the national championship. But you just hate not having a coach that believes in you. That's really, really interesting.
It is so weird to me that he would have had so much opportunity. It was an odd move to me But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. So Brandon, all that said, give me your thoughts on where Florida finishes in the SEC race, and then let's talk records. So, but let's start with where do you think Florida finishes in the SEC this year?
Top 2 again. Yep. I think top 2 fair. Kentucky, I expect a lot from this year.
Those to me are clearly the top 2 teams.
Yeah, I agree.
And I am going to have Florida is my number 1 team with that great push from Kentucky, but I just think the experience that Kentucky is going to be a phenomenal basketball team, but I think Florida's experience wins out with it. So, BO, we've got 13 non-con games, 18 conference games. What would you look at as a record for Florida heading into postseason play?
I think I'm going to say if you can go 11-2 in non-con, that'd be fair. I wouldn't be too brutal on that. And look, like I know that they'll go, 12-1 or 10-3, and people be like, "You idiot!" It's like I don't really care about that.
You missed it.
Yeah, but 11-2 for me, I think is fair. I think we don't know what Florida State and Miami are going to be, and those games can get weird sometimes. I mean, Duke and UConn are 2 hell of a team. Like they're going to be good every year. So I think those would be the most likely ones that you drop. Yep. But knowing Florida, it's like, one of those games where you go, okay, like those 2 might be the ones they drop, and knowing them, they'll win 1, lose 1, and then lose a game they shouldn't have lost. So I think 11-2 is fair for them.
Yep, that's the exact thing I had, is losing the game at Duke. It's just so hard to go in at Cameron. And then either the season opening game against Arizona or UConn, dropping one of those 2 as well. I'm 11-2. Funny enough, I've got Florida the same conference record as last year, 14-4. But this year, I think that's good enough to get first, just 1 game back of it last year. So I've got a total record of 25-6 for the Gators. Again, a worse overall record, but again, against a much tougher schedule. So still in my mind, worthy of a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Brandon, let me give you my floor and ceiling for Florida. And I just want to see if you got any pushback on it. Am I not going far enough? Any of that? So the floor for me for Florida, Boogie Lee, good grief. Well, let's just go with that. Xaivian, Fland, and Boogie Lee can't coexist, and neither of them is Walter Clayton, so things never really take off. It's great to have the front court back, but ultimately it doesn't matter because the backcourt can't get it going. 6th seed in the SEC tournament, 5 seed in the NCAA tournament, and lose in a 5-12 upset in the first round. The ceiling, I mean, I think it's clear and obvious. Back-to-back national champions. Lee and Fland works perfectly together. And in this scenario, they are Xaivian Lee and Boogie Fland, not the crisscross. It works perfectly. It meshes well along with that returning court. Todd Golden presses all the right buttons, has the right depth behind that starting lineup. And ultimately, it's an even more impressive year than last year. Brandon, obviously it can't get higher than that ceiling, but are those a fair floor and ceiling in your mind?
I would put the floor a little bit higher.
Okay.
Maybe that's the homerism, but the way that I look at it is just, I think that this front court would be good enough to, even if the offense does have issues, the front court would be good enough to get you extra looks with offensive rebounds, protecting the paint.
Great point.
And handling their own down low, where even if your offense, isn't as efficient, you just get yourself more opportunities. And I think that would be an important part there. I think that you've got, some guys that are going to come off the bench and be able to make an impact there. If CJ Ingram does genuinely crack the rotation, I think he's just going to be hell to deal with on defense. And so I would look forward to that. But ceiling, back-to-back national champions, of course, is the ceiling. But also when I say the floor would be higher, I'm not like, the floor is 3rd in the SEC. Like I'd say, 5th in the SEC, just slightly better. So that's it. I don't think you're off on that at all.
Last year, Florida was 13th in the nation in offensive rebounds per game, but amongst high major schools, only A&M, St. John's, and that's it. So 3rd in the nation amongst high majors in offensive rebounding per game last year. So Brandon's got something there with that about the front court. Let's make NCAA tournament projections and get out of here. Give me a seed you think the Gators are going to get and what round they will fall in. Or not fall if they win 6 straight again.
I was going to say, it's 1, and you're out of your mind if you think I'm coming on this show and saying anything other than going back-to-back. Yeah, that's going to be my projection because, and when I talk about projections, I mean, that's my expectation. That's it. That's where we're at. You just won the national championship. My expectation is you go out there and do it again. So I'm going to say first seed or one seed. I don't care about necessarily being first overall, but one seed.
One of those top four. Yeah.
Yes. Back to back. That's the goal. That's the expectation for me.
I love it. I love it. Lean into it. I'm going to one seed as well. And I always do my NCAA tournament projections a little different than that. So hear me when I say Elite Eight, but I'm looking at that as like the expectation for Florida. And it's like anything short of that is a disappointment. I think if you lose in the Elite Eight and you don't make a Final Four, yeah, maybe in the heat of the moment, it's a disappointment, but still it's like we won a national championship and then made the Elite Eight the next year, right? And so I think that's great. And then because of the crapshoot of the NCAA tournament, it's so hard to project Final Four and national championship. But again, I think that is a very realistic goal for the Gators to attain to. But again, I think it's Elite Eight or bust kind of mentality in my mind with it. And so that's why I fall a little bit short of you, Brandon.
Yeah, that's fair. You're dead to me, but that's fair. That's
I love it. Well, hopefully we can find ourselves alive again. Your dog clearly hates me as well. I apologize, Pooch. What's your dog's name, Brandon?
It's a cat. Her name's Tapioca. There we go.
There was no way that was not a dog barking.
I need to be honest with you. That was me knocking over a charger.
All right, fine. Fair enough. Man, Florida Gators going to be a great season in Gainesville under Todd Golden. For Brandon's sake, hopefully much better than things are going on the gridiron right now. And I apologize for pushing you while you're down. But hey, it is what it is. Folks, if you don't already follow Brandon's great work on Locked On Gators, make sure to go check that out on audio and video right now. Support his work and make sure you're following along in the lead up to the season. Even if you're like a Knowles fan or a Hurricanes fan and you just want to hate watch or hate listen, go ahead and check it out there as well, because he welcomes all comers. If you've not followed us on Locked On College Basketball, make sure to subscribe as well. And if you're not in the Locked On College Basketball Discord community, we'd love to see you there. As always, I want to say apologies to the Lawyer family. Cheers to the Wild Pope. Shouts to the McBruins. And until tomorrow, peace.